Okay, so picture this. You're 26, you're earning 55,000 rupees a month, which, honestly, not bad. Better than what your parents made at your age. You're sending money home every month, you're paying rent in some overpriced 1 BHK, you're doing everything right by your family's definition of right. And then one day, your colleague, same age as you, same college tier, roughly same salary, casually mentions that he's already got 8 lakh rupees sitting in mutual funds. And you go home that night and open your bank account and realize you have 23,000 rupees. That feeling, that specific stomach dropping feeling where you don't even know where the money went, that is what this video is about. I'm Rohan, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of money in Indian middle class households. If you're someone who earns a decent salary but somehow always ends up month to month, or you've been told invest karo your whole life but no one ever told you how, or you're quietly carrying the pressure of being the first person in your family who might actually break the financial ceiling, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you. It genuinely helps the channel more than you think. Alright, let's talk about becoming a crorepati. And I'm not talking about some fantasy. I'm talking about a boring, repeatable, mathematically inevitable path that most middle class families in India have never been told about. Here's the thing. If you're a professional in a decent job in a tier 1 or tier 2 city in 2026, 7 to 9 lakh rupees per annum is very common. That's the benchmark most of us watching this video are working around. Let's call it 60,000 to 75,000 rupees a month. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. After taxes, PF deductions and all the other invisible cuts, you're actually taking home somewhere between 65% to 75% of that CTC. So that 8 lakh rupees per annum offer letter your family was so proud of, it's actually 45,000 to 50,000 rupees in hand per month. Then rent in a metro, 12,000 to 18,000 rupees, groceries, utilities, 6,000 to 8,000 rupees, parents ka contribution 5,000 to 10,000 rupees, non-negotiable, and nor should it be. Phone, internet, subscriptions, 2,500 rupees. Commute or bike EMI, 3,000 to 5,000 rupees. And suddenly, before a single restaurant visit, before a single movie, before a single online order, you have maybe 8,000 to 12,000 rupees left. And what happens to that money? Honestly, it just disappears. UPI makes it so frictionless that you don't even feel it going. This is the trap. Not that you're earning less. The trap is that no one ever sat you down and told you what you do with that 8,000 rupees every month will determine whether you retire dignified or whether you become your parents' financial liability. Okay, now here's what most people don't realize. A crore sounds enormous. 1 crore rupees. It sounds like lottery money. It sounds like Shah Rukh Khan money. But here's the thing nobody tells you. It's not that far away. Let me show you the math. Stay with me, this is important. If you're 25 years old today and you invest 5,000 rupees per month into an equity mutual fund, that's it, just 5,000 rupees. And that fund gives you a 12% CAGR, which is roughly the long-term historical average of Nifty 50. In 30 years, you will have 1.76 crore rupees. 5,000 rupees a month, which is less than most people spend on Swiggy and Zomato combined. Now, quick reality check before you get too excited. That 1.76 crore rupees is the number on your screen in 2056. Because of inflation, which is running at around 3.2 to 3.5% in India right now, its actual spending power will be closer to 60 to 70 lakh rupees in today's money. That's still massive, but it's also exactly why we don't stop at the flat SIP number. This is where the step-up strategy becomes critical, and I'll get there in a moment. Now let's go further. If you invest 10,000 rupees a month at the same return, 3.52 crore rupees. In today's purchasing power, still over 1.3 crore rupees. That is genuinely generational money for a family that's never had it. And somewhere along the way, your salary grows because salaries do grow, and you start stepping up your SIP by just 10% every year, you cross 4.2 crore rupees comfortably. And that number, inflation adjusted, puts you in true crorepati territory in real terms. Here's what this means. The first crorepati in a middle class family is not a financial genius. They are simply the first person who started and then didn't stop. That is the entire secret. I'm not being poetic. That is literally the mechanism. Now you might be thinking, Rohan, I've heard this SIP lecture before. My bank guy told me, my CA told me. LinkedIn is full of this. Why am I still broke? Great question. And the answer is not what you think. It's not discipline. It's not willpower. It's not even knowledge. It is psychology. Specifically, it is what I call the middle class money mindset. And it has three components that silently sabotage every good financial intention you've ever had. Component 1, the Kal Se syndrome. Every Indian knows this. Kal Se gym, Kal Se diet, Kal Se savings. Here's the brutal maths of Kal Se. If you're 25 right now and you delay starting that 5,000 rupees SIP by just 5 years, starting at 30 instead of 25, your corpus at 55 drops from 1.76 crore rupees to 94 lakh rupees. You literally lose 82 lakh rupees by waiting 5 years. 5 years of Kal Se costs you 82 lakh rupees. Let that sit with you for a second. Component 2, lifestyle creep, the silent killer. Here's the one I need you to really hear because it's happening to you right now and you don't know it. Here's how lifestyle creep works. You get a salary hike, let's say 20%, which is a great hike, congratulations. Your take home goes from 50,000 rupees to 60,000 rupees. And somehow, within 3 months, your expenses have also gone from 48,000 rupees to 57,000 rupees. How? New phone, better apartment, more dining out because yaar I deserve it, I worked hard this year. Weekend trips, slightly more expensive clothes. Nothing dramatic, everything reasonable. But here's the thing, you got 10,000 more per month, you saved 3,000 rupees more, and you call that progress? This is why the AMFI data from March 2026 is so alarming. SIP inflows hit a record 32,087 crore rupees. That sounds incredible, right? But in that same month, the SIP stoppage ratio jumped to over 100%. Read that again. Over 100%. According to the latest AMFI release, 53.38 lakh SIPs were discontinued in March, while only 52.82 new ones were registered. More SIPs were cancelled than started in a record inflow month. That means the headline number is being driven by a shrinking group of consistent investors, while a massive wave of people are quitting. People are not lacking information. They are lacking the emotional infrastructure to stay the course when life happens. Salary hike, upgrade lifestyle, SIP feels tight, stop SIP, back to zero. This is the loop, and this destroys more middle-class wealth than the stock market ever will. Okay, component 3, the gold and FD inheritance. Look, I'm going to say something that might upset some uncles in the comments, and I'm okay with that. Your parents' financial playbook, gold, FD, LIC, savings account, was actually rational for their time. In the 1980s and 90s, FDs were giving 10 to 12% interest. Inflation was high, but FDs kept up. The system worked. But in 2026, an FD gives you 6.5 to 7.5%. Inflation is running at around 3.2 to 3.5%, which is low right now, but your real return on that FD, meaning the return after inflation eats into it, is about 3 to 4%. That sounds okay until you factor in the 30% income tax on FD interest for anyone in the top bracket. Now you're barely breaking even with inflation. Meanwhile, the Nifty 50 has delivered roughly 11 to 13% CAGR over the last 20 years. Real return after inflation, around 7 to 9%. That is not a small difference. Over 30 years, that difference in compounding is the difference between 40 lakh rupees and 3.5 crore rupees on the same invested amount. Your parents aren't wrong for teaching you to save, but the instruments they used are quietly failing you in 2026. And nobody in your family is going to tell you this because nobody in your family knows it. Okay, enough diagnosis. Let me give you the actual path. I'm going to lay this out for a person earning 60,000 rupees take home living in a metro. You can adjust the numbers for your situation, but the structure is universal. Step 1, emergency fund first, no exceptions. Before you invest a single rupee in the market, you need 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a liquid fund or a high-interest savings account. For our 60,000 rupees earner, that's roughly 1.5 lakh rupees for a lean 3-month buffer up to 3 lakh rupees for a solid 6-month cushion. Why? Because if your SIP is 10,000 rupees a month and your bike breaks down and costs 25,000 rupees to repair and you don't have an emergency fund, you're going to redeem your mutual fund at possibly the worst time, and you're going to feel like investing doesn't work when the problem was never the investment. Emergency fund, non-negotiable. Set this up first. You can park this in a liquid mutual fund, something like an overnight fund or a money market fund, which gives you 5.5 to 6.5% returns while keeping the money accessible within one business day. Much better than letting it rot in a savings account at 3%. Step 2. The 20% rule. Automate before you think. Here's the one habit that separates first-generation wealth builders from everyone else. Invest before you spend, not after. The moment your salary hits your account, an auto-debit SIP should go out. Not after paying rent, not after groceries, the very first transaction. For a 60,000 rupees take-home, 20% is 12,000 rupees. Start with whatever you can, even 3,000 rupees, but automate it. The psychology of never seeing that money means you won't miss it. Think of it like this. EPF is already doing this to you every month, taking money before you can spend it. Your employer has been forcing you to save without your permission. You need to do the same thing to yourself, voluntarily, but for wealth instead of just retirement. Now, you might be thinking, Rohan, which fund? There are thousands of options and everyone says something different. I'm going to simplify this for you aggressively because most people overthink the fund selection and underdo the actual investing. For someone who is starting out, building their first crore and doesn't want to spend hours researching markets, 60% in a Nifty 50 index fund. Low cost, tracks the top 50 companies in India, you participate in India's growth story. Expense ratio should be under 0.2%. 20% in a Nifty Next 50 or Mid-Cap 150 index fund. Slightly more aggressive, higher long-term return potential, also cheap. 20% in a short-duration debt fund or dynamic bond fund. This is your buffer. When markets crash, and they will crash like they did in early 2026 with FII outflows and crude crossing $105, this portion keeps you sane and gives you the option to rebalance. That's it. 3 funds. Total expense ratio under 0.5%. You don't need a financial advisor charging you 1% of AUM to maintain this portfolio. Step 4. Increase your SIP every single year. This is the compounding multiplier that most start and SIP videos don't talk about. Every time you get a salary hike, and salaries in India are growing at 9% on average in 2026 per Aon's compensation survey, increase your SIP by at least 10%. So, if you're doing 5,000 rupees today, next year do 5,500 rupees, the year after 6,050 rupees, and so on. This is called step-up SIP, and the difference it makes over 25 years is not incremental, it is exponential. A flat 10,000 rupee SIP for 25 years at 12% gives you 1.89 crore rupees. The same 10,000 rupees stepped up 10% every year, you cross 4.2 crore rupees. Same starting point, same market returns, 3 times the outcome. That is not a trick, that is arithmetic. Okay, so here's something I've been thinking about a lot, and I think this is the most important thing I'll say in this entire video. There's a reason most middle-class families don't have a crorepati in the first generation. And it's not intelligence, and it's not income, and it's not luck. It is identity. In most middle-class families, the financial identity is, we are people who work hard, earn honestly, don't take risks, save in safe instruments, and live within our means. And that identity is beautiful. It is genuinely beautiful. The discipline and integrity in that value system is real. But embedded inside that identity is a hidden belief. Wealth is for other people, business people, lucky people, people with connections. And so when a middle-class person starts investing in equities, something uncomfortable happens. It feels wrong. It feels like speculation. It triggers the risky alarm that was installed in childhood every time someone in the family lost money or got cheated by some dodgy chit fund. Here's what nobody tells you. The first crorepati in a middle-class family has to consciously decide to carry a new identity. Not wealthy, not elite, not different. Just someone who takes calculated, low-cost, diversified bets on India's long-term economic growth. That's all equity investing is. You're not gambling, you're not speculating. You're saying, I believe India's top 50 companies will collectively be worth more 20 years from now than they are today. And if you don't believe that, I don't know what economic future you're imagining. The Nifty 50 has been doing this for 30 years. It has survived 2 Gulf wars, the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID, and the current 2026 market volatility. Every single time, over a long enough horizon, it has recovered and made new highs. You don't have to be brave. You just have to not be the person who quits.
One more thing, and this is personal. If you're the first person in your family who's going to do this, you're going to face friction. Not because your parents don't love you, because they do, but they're going to say things like, म्यूचुअल फंड में इतना रिस्क क्यों लेना है? अगर मार्केट क्रैश हो गया तो? एफडी सेफ है, गोल्ड सेफ है. And here's how I want you to handle that conversation. Not with data, not with arguments, with patience and a long-term track record. Invest. Show them the statements. Show them the growth. Let the numbers talk. Because the single most powerful thing you can do for your family's next generation is not just your own wealth, it's normalizing the conversation about wealth. Teaching your younger siblings, showing your parents that you're not gambling, making SIP a word as normal in your household as FD was in theirs. You're not just building a crore, you're breaking a generational script. Let me leave you with what you need to do this week. Not Kal Se, this week. Monday. Open a direct mutual fund account, either MF Central, Coin by Zerodha, or Grow. Direct plans, not regular plans. This alone saves you 0.5 to 1% annually in distributor commission. Over 25 years on a growing corpus, that difference in compounding costs you 50 lakh to 1 crore rupees. Not a typo. That is real money that goes to a distributor instead of your retirement fund just because you picked the wrong plan type. Tuesday, start your emergency fund. If you have nothing, set up a 2000 rupees per month SIP in a liquid fund and don't touch it for 12 months. Wednesday, set up your first equity SIP, even 500 rupees. The amount doesn't matter right now. The habit does. Thursday, calculate your SIP target. Take your take home, multiplied by 20%, that's your number. Work toward it over the next 12 months. Friday, tell one person, a friend, a sibling about what you're doing. Accountability works. Here's the reality of 2026. The Indian mutual fund industry now manages over 73 lakh crore rupees in assets. There are 27.39 crore investment folios in this country. Retail investors, people like you and me, are driving 32,000 crore rupees into SIPs every single month. The infrastructure exists, the apps are there, the information is there. The only variable left is you. You don't need to be rich to start. You need to start to get rich. And if you're the first person in your family to do this, if you're the one who has to figure it out without a roadmap, just know every Crorepati family started with someone exactly like you sitting somewhere deciding that the old script was no longer enough. Be that person. I'm Rohan. I'll see you in the next one.